Hello everyone, thank you for your support for my inaugural video posted last week. Topic for this week is Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India. I'll be focusing on giving a background to the policy, what is Atmanirbhar Bharat, what it is not, and how government is going to achieve this. In 2019, a global economy woken up to the reality that they are over-dependent on one economy, which is China. Subsequently, American and European companies have started shifting their base from China to other economies. While India also have their share, the major winner in this limited transition has been Vietnam. So in my personal opinion, India could have done better. This approach would have continued in 2020 but for COVID. Wow, you would be wondering how China has become a global supplier overnight. Obviously, it has not happened overnight. So it is based on a concerted approach over a period of last 2 decades. What China has done is they made their product globally competitive. In other words, a consumer wanted to procure goods, he would find Chinese product cheaper vis-a-vis products supplied by local manufacturers. How they are able to achieve this? They adopted a two-pronged approach. On one side, they devalued their local currency, which is Chinese yuan, so that the price of the commodity in the market is cheaper. On the other side, they supported their industry to the hilt. Even when they are doing badly, this government support was there for the industries. Combined with the skillful manpower of Chinese people, they were able to achieve this. Because India and China both have huge population potential so that they can be global suppliers. If China is able to do, there's no reason for us to believe India can't. So this Atmanirbhar Bharat theme was invoked by our Prime Minister in his 12th May 2020 speech. Even though he made it public only on 20th May, the government efforts on this direction have been way back, started in 2019 itself. Post Galwan misadventure by China, the public support for Atmanirbhar Bharat also was evident. So with this background, let us first try to understand what is not Atmanirbhar Bharat, because a public perception is Atmanirbhar or self-reliant means are we going to go back to protectionist economy from being a liberal economy? Events in the last few months might have tilted their opinion in that notion. Basically, government has, in the last few months, government has banned applications, Chinese applications. Government has cancelled contracts with Chinese parties. They've tweaked the foreign direct investment rules. So, in all foreign direct investment from bordering nations, without singling out China, will be through approval route. So, in other words, foreign direct investment can happen in two modes. One is approval route, which means investment coming to India only after government or regulatory approval. Other is automatic approval, which means it doesn't seek such approvals. So these, but actual purpose of Atmanirbhar Bharat is not, is basically to encourage local manufacturing, to reduce over dependence on trades, to eliminate trade deficit. So in 2004, India and China's trade imbalance is nothing but more import over export. So there is no parity. So it was actually in 2004, there was no significant trade imbalance, but subsequently it has zoomed and it has gone manifold now. So the endeavor of this Atmanirbhar Bharat inter alia is to reduce or eliminate this trade imbalance, to support local manufacturing. So how they are going to do this is basically they are focused on few economies. Basically, government will identify sectors and industries wherein we have the potential and scalability to not only cater to our internal requirements but also can export and become globally competitive. In other words, we are expanding from make in India to produce in India for make for the world or for the global market. So that is what we are aiming through Atmanirbhar Bharat. So government has identified a few sectors, like they call it as pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat endeavor. First is economy. First pillar is economy. So we know in 2019 our economy was not growing, relatively speaking. It started recovering in early 2020, but COVID ensured that things go from bad to worse. Even our RBI has predicted that we are going to grow negatively this year. So we have to basically recuperate this economy. Second is infrastructure. If China has to replace India, we have to invest immensely in infrastructure. In my previous video also I highlighted the government's plan to come out with National Infrastructure Pipeline project, which is a huge outlay of 110 lakh crore rupees. So infrastructure is imminent. The next pillar is systems. So in the last 6 years, in terms of ease of doing business index, we have come a long way from 142 to 63. But I still feel there are some sectors like tax reforms, land reforms, and also judicial reforms has to happen so that India becomes the favored destination for foreign investment. And then vibrant demography and demand. So creating local and global demand is the pillars, other two pillars. Government also voiced out how they are going to achieve this. In phase 1, they said that we'll be focusing on businesses including MSMEs. We know that with the advent of after COVID, on one side there has been a stimulus package to the industry, especially to MSME sector, and also on the other side you have moratorium on loans. Okay. Then the next phase is poor, migrants as well as farmers. Then subsequent phase 3 agriculture. Phase 4 is new horizons of growth, and phase 5 is governmental reforms and enablers. So even though when they say phase 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not going to happen in staggered manners. We have already seen that governmental actions across the board. So then comes this, you say about Atmanirbhar Bharat, how government is going to achieve this. One of the policy or scheme which the government has come out is production linked incentive scheme. So this was approved in the cabinet on 24th March 2020. So with effective from 1st April 2020. So the first industry which was in focus was to encourage large scale electronics manufacturing. So by this scheme, what government is intended to do is basically they want to give a cash incentive for a period of 5 years, which is to the tune of 4 to 6% of the incremental volume or incremental produce vis-a-vis the previous base year. So by this, these measures will help the companies to be competitive, and also as part of this measure, government feels that they can create employment potential to the tune of 2 lakh direct, and combined with indirect, they are looking at 8 lakh employment potential. So this is only for electronics manufacturing sectors. So this policy was expanded to pharmaceutical sectors in July, wherein government identified 53 APIs. APIs is nothing but active pharmaceutical ingredients, which covers 41 products. So you all know that China and India cater to the global pharmaceutical market. And then with these measures, we are trying to basically outsmart China and become equally competitive to China, or where possible outsmart them. So this is another big area wherein government is planning a cash incentive to the tune of close to 7,000 crore rupees. Then the next sector which was announced very recently last week was battery manufacturing. A lot of American and Japanese companies have evinced interest in this space. Even local companies like Bell, Tata's and JSW also evinced interest. Even all oil marketing companies, OMCs, are evincing interest because they found this to be a lucrative segment. Because we know that oil is no more gold come in the next decade when the focus will be on renewable energy. So government wants to build a capacity of 53 gigawatts by 2026 in this space. And to bring things into perspective, every year we import battery to the tune of 1 billion US dollars. So there is obviously a potential to become a net exporter in this space, which obviously will result in employment generation and then Atmanirbhar Bharat and other goals which we want to realize through this. The other sector wherein working is in progress is auto ancillary sector, nothing but those companies who make auto components. So this is very key. I'll quote an example. Like say for example, we know TVS, we know the Bajaj. These are all automobile companies. What they do, they basically assemble auto components. They are not manufacturing auto components. They are very much dependent on Chinese companies because they procure the finished products from China and then assemble it here and then sell it locally. But government through this measure they are based, but there are other companies which are smaller in nature who are manufacturing those automobile components. So thrust will be on those manufacturing entities so that they can become the tomorrow's Tatas, TVS and Hero Motors of the world. So that's a bigger potential. Again, coming back to my earlier point that the focus here is not to export raw material and import finished product, but we have to manufacture finished product and export globally. So that has been the endeavor. And then even yesterday, there are other industries which are going to be added to this ever increasing list. The next industry is toy making industry, wherein our Prime Minister has voiced out measures taken for this industry. Not only this, every large industry which has got, where India has got a manufacturing potential, which is a large scale industry, so that we can cater to the global market. It's all in the pipeline. So we will have a similar policy announcement catering to chemical sector, tires, and so on and so forth in the next few months. So this Atmanirbhar Bharat, as I said, lot of measures have been already announced. Many more measures will be announced in due course, so that we will become an alternate to China for global requirements. So we'll be an alternate to China for global supply chain. So that is what this policy in crux is trying to achieve. I'd like to basically add a couple of more things. Basically, India is expanding or basically enhance the FDI limit in the defense sector, different manufacturing sector from 49% to 74%. What we are trying to achieve is basically today an aircraft which have to be Indian aircraft, whether private or public, which have to be serviced, then we apply the aircraft to other countries for our maintenance requirements. So in this area, India see a huge potential. So India want to become a global hub, so that other airlines come into India for their maintenance, repair and overall requirements. So this is a area wherein government sees a huge potential. So other thing which is doing around the rounds is on the cap on royalty payments, because there are many companies like many big MNCs like your HUL, Nestle, and you can add to the list. They all make royalty payments to their parent companies. So these royalty payments will be a percentile of their sales. So recently SEBI has come out with a guideline to put a cap on these royalty payments, which have already come effective from 1st July. So we see there are companies across the board who make royalty payments from 5% to less than 2%. So all this will be capped at 2%, so that the companies can deploy more amount, invest in India so that they can expand their capacity in India. So that, I mean, what it means is it has a direct proportion or correlation to the your export volume or sales turnover. So that's what I mean our government is looking at. In Atmanirbhar Bharat is, just to reiterate, is basically not to a protectionist mentality, but we also to base where we have got a potential to scale up, to become a global player, and also leverage on the current climate wherein because after the COVID impact, when every country is looking for an alternate supplier, we can fill in the gap. That's what precisely we are looking at. With this, I conclude my video on this. I would request you to please like and subscribe to my videos. Till next week we meet, please take care. Cheers. Bye bye.